Tuesday, the 11th of February 2025, and the US market has just opened. I am planning on taking several entries. We've had quite a challenging London session earlier. Ended up like $20 down on the account, but obviously nothing serious. It showcased the importance of being patient and sticking to your plan. So if you're new here, I am trying to pass an FTMO challenge by using mostly just mechanical entries. I do very specific research that is centered around what happens when a certain candle on a certain time frame completes in these indexes in gold. And my research is showing that at certain times price likes to go and streak in a direction. So I am trying to basically research that and then take the entries that have been working best recently. So I have several entries planned for this session, as I do for every session. I plan the entries beforehand. So basically, I don't really care where price goes. I just wait for my very specific candles to close, and then I will be placing a buy order above it and a sell order below it, and wherever price goes first, that is the fill I'm going to take. And then I delete the other order and place the stop in its spot. So that is just a basic rundown of what I do. And my research is very specific, very thorough. I have a spreadsheet where I track which entry works best. And when they work really well, I take them in higher size. When they're just profitable, just good entries, I take them in normal size. And then if they're still profitable over time, but perhaps a bit more shaky, I still take them, but with lower size, just to have some exposure, but risk less. So with that in mind, my first entry will be once the second 5-minute bar completes in the Dow Jones Index. So this bar here that is just forming right now, when it completes, I will place a buy order above and a sell order below. And for this particular entry, I will risk a smaller amount. So I will risk like 0.3% on the account. In this case, like $30. This is a 10K account. So I will risk like $30, give or take, of course. Price moves quickly, and with the stop needing to be at the opposite end of the bar, I usually have to do some quick math, but I can also adjust it after we get filled, of course, and just remove a bit off it. I don't care too much about that. It's just important that we respect the allocated risk. So after that bar, I will be interested in the completion of the first 15-minute bar in the NASDAQ, which has been a really good entry lately. However, I do need this bar to be lower than 150 points. And now it is pretty much already 90 points. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. If this streaks too much here, it will make it difficult to get an entry. But then I also have an entry off the second 15-minute bar in the NASDAQ. So in case I can't take the entry off the first bar, I will take the entry off the second 15-minute bar. Then several other entries, the second 15-minute bar in gold and the second 15-minute bar in the DAX will also be taken today. But again, if this is your first time watching, you're gonna catch on pretty quickly of what I do. You'll see me place buy orders above and below a bar, and then we just take a fill. I use my spreadsheet and the structure to set a target. In my spreadsheet, I have basically the amount of points that each entry has made or lost in the last few weeks on every single day. So I can easily see, with approximation obviously, how many points I can hope to make. So I use that plus the structure to decide on a reasonable target. And that is how I operate. So now there are a few minutes left until this bar completes, and I'll just pause you and bring you back when we're closer to the entry. So I'm bringing you back here. I'm going to show you how to place the orders. So placing the sell order, because price is quite far away from it, we don't risk a bad entry. And I use like 5 to 6 point cushions, so I don't place it exactly at the very low. I give it a bit of a cushion just to avoid when price revisits, perfectly revisits, the extremity and then reverses. Kind of like we've seen here. Could have gone a bit higher up for the perfect example. So now we have placed the orders and I'm just waiting for a fill. And when we get the fill, I will just delete the opposite order. So there's a good chance we get the long fill here, in which case I will delete the short order and you will see me dragging the stop in its place. And we're 5 minutes away from completing the first 15-minute bars. And I'm really only interested in the first 15-minute bar in the NASDAQ here. I will also be interested in the break of the fifth 5-minute bar in the SPX, which is the S&P 500. So right now I'm just checking the size of the first 15-minute candle in the NASDAQ. So it's 701 to 606. So it's just a bit under 100 points. This is one of my better entries for today. So when I mean better entries in higher sizing, I mean that I'm going to be risking more than my usual, which is 0.5%. So I'm going to go to like 0.7% risked. Or, somewhere in that vicinity, just because this is a better entry. I have to take into consideration the cushion, the buffer that I'm leaving, so 5 points above and below as well, so it's going to be like 110 range. But we'll have to wait for that. 3 minutes left. And I'm still waiting for a fill in the Dow Jones. And then I'll have several others in the Dow today. But we'll see how things evolve. I'll pause you for now again and bring you back when we're closer to completing this bar or when we're filled in the Dow trade. And we have just completed the first 15-minute bar. I've quickly placed my orders, 5 points above and below. I'm going for 60 cents a point because it's quite a big bar, plus I'm adding the cushion as well. So I wanted to risk like $70 on this entry. Obviously, I would have preferred the first 15-minute bar to be a bit lower in size, so I could go higher in the sizing of my trade. But this will have to do. I'm going to be risking the same amount, but obviously I could have gone even bigger size had the opening bar been a bit smaller. So let's see what happens. Bit of a slow start in the Dow, I should say. You usually see it rate kind of both ends of London session in the open. It can do that a lot. Just quickly looking at ATR here compared to previous days. So let me just look at the US Open here. 36. So we are in a bit of a lower ATR environment in the Dow. 73, 17 yesterday, and last week at the open we were at around 24.30. It's not a huge difference, but we are in a bit of a smaller ATR environment. So just waiting for a fill now, while I also think about my other entries, some of my other entries. So I would also be looking at the range that is forming between the second 5-minute bar and the fifth 5-minute bar in the Dow Jones. Now, when these are just inside bars, can become a bit tricky, but we'll still look at it and decide. Generally, I'm trying to take as many entries as I can from my prepared list, because they are all heavily researched entries. Obviously, if they go against each other, which can sometimes happen, I will skip one, but generally I try to just take everything mechanically. So I'll pause you and wait for a fill here. And bringing you back here as we've just gotten filled in on the NASDAQ. Let me just quickly delete the short order, placing the stop at that exact level. So risking 63, perhaps just a bit lower than I would have wanted. I wanted like 70, but that's perfectly fine. It's quite a big bar, like I said. So now I'm going to decide on a target for the NASDAQ. Obviously, we can look at the higher time frame. We are close to the highs here, but we are getting into some resistance, of course. This channel here represents previous day high and previous day low, which is something that I like to track and just easily see on my charts at all times. So I'm gonna check my spreadsheet now, and I'm just looking at what this particular entry has returned in the past few weeks when it's worked in our favor. So we've gotten 100 points, 120 points, 80 points, 70 points, 60 points, 90 points, 80 points, and the least we've gotten were 45 points a few days ago. So by looking at that, I'm thinking about an average of 70 points, which would be around here. From an R&R standpoint, it's not really that enticing. So perhaps I'm just going to push it to 80 points here, which is still well within what we've made on this entry, because we've made 80 points quite a few times, and even 100 points a few times, and 90 points twice. So I'm just going to go for 80 points. It's a bit lower than a 1-to-1 R, but I think that's fine. Let's say I see a lot of strength here, I might be open to perhaps increase the TP, but I'll leave it like that for now. Do have to mention that we also have Jerome Powell speaking today in front of Congress, I believe. So that can always bring some type of volatility to the market. Perhaps that's what we're waiting for here, and that's why we're so subdued. So normally I would also mark the break of the range formed by the second 5-minute bar and fifth 5-minute bars in the Dow. So it would be this entire range, but it's basically the same as the range of the second 5-minute bar in this case. So I'll just keep these in place. And as we're getting close to completing the second 15-minute bars, I will have an entry in the DAX and an entry in gold based off the break of the second 15-minute bars. And this is going to be a lower entry and this is going to be a normal entry of $50 risked. This is going to be like $30 risked. So I'm going to wait a few more minutes and bring you back for that as well. We are soon going to complete the second 15-minute bars, and I do have to be a bit careful here because we are going to have Powell's testimony start soon, and that can cause volatility, but I think my strategy just needs to be applied regardless. So for gold, it's like a half a point cushion. The issue with DAX here is that it's right at the highs. So I'm just going to wait for a moment here. Okay, I'm going long here. And got filled long in the Dow. So yeah, we were waiting for Powell's speech to start. Risking just 37 here. And I'm going to quickly establish some targets. I'm going to go for like 100 points in the Dow. For the DAX, I'm going to go for like 45 to 50 points. 45 is fine. Again, I am checking my spreadsheet for this. Also looking at the structure. It's a bit risky, of course, but everything is, every trade is risky. And for gold, I'm going to check my spreadsheet now before we get a fill. And for gold, I'm going to target like 7 points. So nothing too major. Let's see if we get filled short here. This is why I use a cushion, because we just revisited the low of the bar and now we're retracing. Had I placed the short order at exactly the low end of the bar, you would get a lot of bad fills. So let's see what happens. I've enhanced this chart a bit just to see it better. I do think there's a good chance we get filled short here. And I'm going to go long in the S&P here as well. I waited and didn't place my order for the 5-minute bar here because these were more compact and there was quite a big chance we got stopped out here. It's quite a small risk here. Let me just put a 1-point cushion. $30 risked. And I'm going to target like say 15 points. Actually, let's just go a bit lower. 12 points here. Just looking at the structure. And we have gotten filled in gold, so deleting the long order. Let me just show you here. So risking like 53, that is fine. Do I have the right cushion here? Yeah, 53. And for gold I said what, like 7 points? Some points would be here. That's quite a conservative target, I would say. At most, I've made like 10 points on this entry, so we could perhaps hold out for more. Let's take it to 9 points and an even 1-to-1 R. We'll see if that works out. And now I have my entries, and all of them have been mechanical. You know, if we get unlucky here with Powell and the speech, that's fine. My research tells me that I need to execute these and take them fully mechanically and not hesitate. So when they don't work out, they don't work out. Over the long run, they provide an edge, and I have the data to back it up. And it does look like we're going to get stopped out in the Dow here. Okay. So next up in the Dow, I'll wait for the completion of this third 15-minute bar. However, if it's larger than 100 points, then that might be a problem, but let's see. And now I just wait and let things play out. And whatever happens, happens. I always analyze after the fact. I analyze my session, but all the entries are mechanical. All the entries are fully researched and well managed in terms of risk, so I can afford to lose 3, 4, 5 in a row. It's not a problem, obviously. I have a long way to go until I lose 500. So just applying my strategy in the long term and letting the edge play out. So I'll pause you for now. Not a particularly great outlook for now, but you never know. So just have to stay patient, and we'll see how things evolve. So a little update here. The third 15-minute bar in the Dow is not going to be an entry because it's just a bit too big of a bar, and it kind of encapsulates the entire range. So it's a bit risky to take, I think. So we're just going to wait. I also have an entry off the fourth 15-minute bar into the SPX. And then that's going to be pretty much it. I'll just manage the positions, and I will only do another trade if I see a clear setup that I like. The gold trade isn't looking particularly well, so perhaps not the best day for my mechanical entries. But this is how I trade each and every day. And I think the results already have started to show, and if you hang around and keep watching, you will see a lot of days when these entries work really well. So never judge anything just by one session. And also that works for really good sessions. You will see sessions where these mechanical entries work to perfection, just directly running to TP, and you'll think like, this is amazing. But you have to be aware that you'll also have days like this where you just get filled in a direction and then just price reverses. If you look at today, it hasn't been an easy session. Same goes for the morning. Some wins, some losses, some heavy losses even. This was supposed to be one of the better entries for today, and it was a loss. So it's important to manage your risk always and not get, if you believe in your edge and you've done your homework and your research and you know you have an edge and you know what that edge is and how it plays out, then results of any given session don't really matter as long as you've stood by your plan and respected your entries. So Bit of a slow movement now, but I do think that we need to be patient here. You can have a lot of stagnation and then all of a sudden you see price settle into a direction. So I'll pause you here, and I think I'll bring you back a bit later, perhaps when the fourth 15-minute bar completes in the SPX. And I'm going to take a normal sized trade as well here, so risking around $50. And in the meantime, I'll just observe price action, and we'll bring you back if we have a stop out or we get close to a TP. Bringing you back here, so still a bit quiet. It's good to see that gold has stumbled a bit. Let's see if we can push this back down. I'm considering a long on the UK 100 index here. I think whenever I see, especially in an uptrend like we've been in, when I see price go below an entire previous session's range and then strongly close back inside, I think that is a strong long trigger. So I'm gonna just go long here and essentially just place the stop below the lows. I'm well within my $50 per trade risk, and I'm actually gonna just target this candle high here for a 1-to-1 pretty much. Nothing too fancy. I think that's fine. And market is supportive. DAX isn't doing much, and NASDAQ is just in a little bit of profit. But yeah, a bit of a slow day. Obviously, my strategies are, especially my mechanical entries, are all breakouts or breakdowns, so I am looking for continuation. So when that doesn't happen, it's detrimental to my account, but I take these entries in environments where they've been working well lately. So if they don't work today, there's not much of concern. If they stop working for days on end, first of all, I adapt every single day to the market, to the previous days, and every single day I have a different list of entries. So everything is taken into account. But if I get to a point where, let's say, most of my entries don't work, then to me that means we're in a ranging market, in a choppy market, and then I just switch to trading support and resistance more. So I will be looking at things like previous day high and previous day low, and previous session high and previous session low, and when we get close to a high I will sell, when we get close to a low I will buy, because it means we're ranging. So I'm not going to be looking for breakouts off of candles. And that is how you can stay profitable regardless of market conditions. But you have to be adaptable, and you have to always do your research and understand what the current conditions are. So right now we've been in a trending market for ages, and you can look at most indices and this will become clear. I mean, just look at the DAX here on the daily, and same goes for the UK index, same goes for gold. So I've had no problem going long at perceived resistances. But if we get to a point where we're not really expanding and we're just sitting in a range, then I will immediately adapt. So a nice reaction on the NASDAQ here. We are closing this gap. And now we are 2 minutes away from completing this candle. If I see a strong close here, I might add to this position on the same size because it's a decent size. and this is a smaller candle. Yeah, this is looking pretty good right now. I'm not gonna move the original TP, so just targeting $49, but I might just add to this position, and that just becomes a new trade that I manage separately. It's good that we're starting to have movement. Obviously the fourth 15-minute bar in the SPX will also complete here. Let me just check the size real quick. 60-60. So it's like 12 points. So I'm going to go just a bit under 4. And like a 1 point cushion for the SPX. Okay, and I am adding to the NASDAQ here. I'm placing it just below, a bit further below. Let's go like this, risking 42, just below London highs. In terms of target for the add-on, I think I will be looking for a 1-to-1 as well. So I'll be looking at new highs on the day. Just go like this, a bit higher than yesterday. I think that is okay. And we'll be active with this one. Let's say we stumble around here, I could close both. But I would like to see at least the first TP being hit. Okay, I think I have enough exposure here. I don't have any other mechanical entries planned, so this was the last one in the Dow, in the SPX, sorry. We'll see what happens. It's looking a bit better than earlier, but still a long way to go until we're in a decent shape here, so I'll be patient and I'll bring you back. Obviously, I'm also going to be moving the stop loss to the first entry just a bit further up, just to lower my risk here. I think this is perfectly fine, because if we go back into London range, we're probably going to get stopped out anyway. No reason to lose the whole amount, so I'm just risking 40 now to make 49, so it's even a bit better. I'm just hoping for a little strength here. Basically just another bar like this would do the trick. So let's see. Sadly gold is attempting to stop us out again, but I'll let things run and we'll see where the chips fall. We got a long fill here in the SPX, so I think I'm just gonna target new highs. Again, just a 1-to-1 here. Not going for the fences. I think it's been a bit of a weird day, so I'm perhaps not as confident in going for huge targets. So I'm just going for 13 points here, which is very reasonable. Looking at previous data, I have made 13, 14, 16, 20, 26 on this entry, so it can definitely go higher, but I think a 1-to-1 would be very okay here. Sadly, it does look like we're very likely to get stopped out in gold. that can happen. But yeah, quite a few open positions now, so just gonna manage this. And this is actually a long trigger in the Dow here. When we've ranged so hard into London session and then we're breaking out and closing, if we do close this 15-minute bar outside of London range, this does have potential as well to attack the previous day highs, but I do think I have enough exposure to the upside now. And we have gotten stopped out in gold, so that's just unfortunate. I have no other entries for gold for the rest of the day. So we can just focus on these positions. I won't take a long in the Dow, I don't think. I'm sad to see the DAX slowing down here, but that's okay. Hopefully we can resume the rally. We weren't that far off TP. But yeah, I'll manage these positions. A key moment here in the UK 100 trade, because we will be getting to this area here where we've actually encountered resistance earlier in the session, so clearly we have to break through this. So we'll see now. We might retrace here a bit, but just have to keep an open mind and let things play out. So I think I'll pause you for a bit longer now until we actually get close to hitting something here, either a TP or a stop loss, of course. But these are the last trades of the day. I'm currently down like $100 on the day at this moment in time. Started at like 310, so $90 down, but we have quite a few positions, so it can easily go either way. So we can either dig a bigger hole or get back up, but that's just what being a trader is. And I haven't chased anything. All my entries have been planned out, taken by following my rules. So very happy with my execution, and I'll pause you now and let's be optimistic. A little update here. So Dow is in fact marching forward as well, but I'm fine with not taking this simply because obviously I do have quite a few open trades to the long side. Say we just have some news of some new tariffs, which can always happen with this administration in the US, and then you would see everything just hard reverse. So just have to be a bit mindful here. We do have quite a few open positions to the upside, 5 to be exact, so I think giving up on one is fine, just to play it a bit safe and not get too greedy. I would just like to hit an early TP like in NASDAQ here, just again to just close one of the trades. I do not like to close trades early. I think that it's bad practice unless you see something evident, you have good reason to close a trade early, and you can sometimes have a good reason to close a trade early, but just because you're afraid of a reversal is not a good reason ever. So I have to let things play out. And the NASDAQ, our first target, that is 787. So we would need 20 more points here. For TP, I'll stay patient, and it's good to see the DAX trying to carry on as well here. So I'll pause you and bring you back hopefully to some good news. So I have good news and bad news. We have hit TP in the UK 100 trade. So that was nice. Textbook reversal pattern that I've executed, and it worked beautifully. You can see it here. Much needed win after how we started the US session. Sadly, we were so close to first TP in the Nasdaq, and then we got the reversal here, or not the reversal, but the push lower. So we shed like 30 points when we were like 15 points away from TP. But again, let's stay optimistic. We can definitely go back up here. We're basically on break even right now on the day, and it's not been an easy day. So I think this shows you an important lesson that you can have bad runs, and obviously I'm taking quite a few trades per day. I'm taking like around 15 trades per day. So that's quite a lot of risk each and every day. This is why it's very important to manage it correctly and to realize that you can have bad runs. I mean, look at this run here, a lot of losses. If you've just watched a video of mine for the first time, perhaps you watched the start and my strategies weren't really looking that attractive, but now perhaps you can see the potential, and you can also see what it takes to manage and manage well. So I'll keep everything open. Hopefully don't get a full hard reversal here. But this is why I was hoping to get a TP on the first position, because then we could have been a bit more relaxed for the add-on. But like I said, no reason not to be optimistic, and we'll let things run. DAX also did this, where it started retracing and then it recovered, and now we're close to TP as well. Let's see, we need like 13 points. Let's hope we get it. So yeah, staying patient, and I'll bring you back. So I'm bringing you back here because I just actually want to close the DAX manually. The reason I'm doing that is while we're at all-time highs here, just looking at the other indices, it does feel like we might be in for a bit of a reversal. So I'm just gonna secure that profit and not hold out for an extra $10 because we were quite close. And I will let all the others run. Obviously we can still end up quite low on the day here. I'm risking $50 in the SPX and $43 on the add-on and $40 on the other entry. So yeah, I can still finish the day in a loss, obviously. So just wanted to lower my risk here. I'm still optimistic on these entries. I think that this area here clearly is gonna provide some resistance, but have to remind ourselves that we've been very strong here for quite a while, and I see no reason why we can't revisit yesterday's highs here. And price action has been supportive, so, and I do think we would have hit TP here and the DAX, but just wanted to, as we wind down on the day, to just play it a bit safer. So I'll let these play out, and I'll bring you back when we get close to that. Bringing you back here, I stepped away for a moment, and sadly we did get a reversal here and got stopped out of the Nasdaq positions. That is unfortunate. My DP on this was just like under 10 points. I think it was like 7 points higher, but that happens sometimes. I'm never gonna chicken out and be afraid to let my trades run, especially on researched setups. Now, somehow we have avoided the stop in SPX and we've returned to the entry point. I'm going to let this run into the night, so whatever happens, happens. So we're going to end up down on the day, which sometimes is the case. We followed our plan. There was some quite difficult, perhaps, price action at times, especially when Powell's testimony began. Didn't go our way, so I'll be back tomorrow with more mechanical entries. And we move on. So if you like this type of content, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. I post my videos daily. I try to show a mechanical way of trading based on research, execution, and discipline. Anyone can do it. Anyone can learn to trade following some very specific rules, and hopefully I can teach you a thing or two about mechanical entries and how to be consistent and how to develop a strategy around them. So if you enjoy that, join me tomorrow, and for now I wish you a good evening.